Greetings, my fellow Brompton travellers. I wanted to share with you something I've just been trying with regards to the pack. So I guess it's kind of like a hack or a modification. Done a few other things as well, actually. But let me start with these. I don't want to get my knees muddy. Okay, so you will recall in my last video that I was using these sort of pouches from my cheap £4 rucksack, which are absolutely fine, and they kind of replicate the sort of pouches, the twin pouches that you get on many Brompton branded bags, and I had them here and here, and I mentioned that I was going to look for one that was like taller, and I found them on Amazon, and I thought, do you know what, I'll pull the trigger on them, and I will see if they work. And I measured, and I was satisfied that they would work. So here they are. I will insert some photographs so you can see how they're attached, but I really like these. I think what I might do is just leave a link to some of the things I'm using in the description of these videos, because some of them are affiliate links, which means that I might earn a small commission and at no cost to you. I know a lot of people do that, and I thought, you know, that's a great idea, because it would mean I can put that money to good use and buy some interesting stuff. So that's what I'm going to do. It sounds very mercenary, but why not? Why not? Let me show you what I've got in here, because in this one I've got not everything, but I've got my toolkit in here. It just goes to show, I mean, this is the standard Brompton pump, which I don't really rate other than an emergency pump, but that is much better in there than on these brackets, which kind of get twisted around. So I'm not too keen. I mean, it's a clever system. But you need to keep an eye on it. You really do need to keep an eye on it, I think, from my own personal experience. So something like that is big enough for some tools. And then in this one I have, and I really like these zips because they're YKK super smooth zips. I've got my camera tripod in here at the moment, and these external pockets, God, that is so dark, isn't it? Those pockets can take one of these slimline water bottles, and there's an elastic strap with a toggle which I can use to secure, certainly on this bottle, so that when I'm carrying this over my shoulder, it won't slide out when I'm on the train or the bus even. But as you recall, I was talking about this army duffel bag or stuff sack or kit bag in glowing terms. I've got all my kits still in here, and although the kind of wide angle lens makes that look enormous, let me go back here. It's actually not that enormous, really. It's about the same width as my elbows when I'm riding. And someone actually said to put, and I think this is a good idea, they said to put some sort of stiffener at the bottom here, like half a for sale sign made out of that. I think it's Coroplast. I think that the name is that sort of corrugated plastic stuff. But the thing is, the beauty of this is when you stuff this, you're stuffing it tightly, and it just varies in width. It's the same degree of rigidity, just a different width. So I could stuff some more stuff in here. There's plenty of space to to extend this a little bit more. I wouldn't want to do more than this. This represents about 55 litres of capacity, which, when you consider that, the messenger bag I've got is 20 litres, and the Borough bag, I believe, which is enormous, is 27 or 28 litres, and the Vincita Atlas bag, which I believe is just about the biggest you can get, that's still under 30 litres, I believe, and this is 55. And this total loadout is 8 kilos. I weighed it again this morning, and that included my tripod, tools, and water bottle, although the water bottle's empty. I've just finished drinking it because it's a really hot day here in Wales. And it also includes this. What is this? I've attached this with Velcro. Can you see that? So it's sturdy enough. In here is my medical kit, first aid stuff. I'm a diabetic, and so in here are some jelly babies, a couple of big packs of jelly babies, so that if I have a hypo, which is like low blood sugar, I can rescue myself. I have a patch on my arm, and I'll insert a photo here, and which is linked to an app, so that I know exactly what my blood sugar is at any given time, and I don't even have to look at it. I've set the alarm so that if the blood sugar level falls below a certain level, the alarm sounds, and that turns night into day. So I've been a diabetic for many years, and that sort of system works well. I don't really have to talk about that sort of thing, but I guess this is I'm not sure what sort of format these videos might take, but it's kind of very informal, and you might find that I'm chatting about all sorts of things. There's a few things I'm going to talk about today in this video, not just these pouches I got. So I kind of think it will just evolve, because I just like sharing. I'm very passionate about Brompton bikes, and I have problems with my feet, which means I can't walk very far. But hey, Brompton will travel, and especially because I can use the bus and the train. Multimodal travel is where it's at, really, for me. So it kind of has turned night into day. I'll probably talk about my camping experiences in another video, perhaps, if people are interested in that. But today, I want to talk about a few modifications and experiments I've done. As I've said, I've only had this particular Brompton maybe about 3 or 4 months now, and it's on the Brompton subscription scheme, where you pay £35 a month, and then you get a full service, factory service once every 12 months. And I'll tell you what, okay, £35 is £35. It's not affordable for everyone. But if you are not sure whether a Brompton is a good idea for you, this is a great idea. I think this is a great idea, because there's no sort of deposit. They just take your credit cards and they bill you every month. But included in that £35, apart from the service, you get insurance. Now, I don't know how good the insurance is, because one of the exclusions is you mustn't leave it anywhere. You must carry it with you at all times. But I'll worry about that if it does get nicked. I never leave this anywhere. I don't carry a lock. There's no point in using a lock. It's just it's just a fantastic thing, isn't it? And I'm a convert. I'll tell you, I went into Evans Cycles almost exactly 11 years ago, and you could pay £1 for an hour's hire, if you like, a bit like a road test. And I thought, well, I've got an hour to kill, so I did. And I thought the Brompton would be a bit like, I mean, I've ridden 1 or 2 folding bikes in my life before, but this Brompton was transformative. I was very impressed at how solid it felt. It doesn't feel like a full-size bike. And I'm an experienced cyclist. In my life, I've had maybe 70 bikes. I've done touring and camping and youth hostling in my youth, and I've done all sorts of racing many years ago, and I'm a pensioner now. A young pensioner. But I was very, very impressed. I was very, very impressed with how solid it felt, and also the fold. I mean, the fold is everything. I mean, I bought some time ago, maybe about 10 years ago, I bought a 20-inch wheel folding bike, just a single speed, a cheap folding bike from Decathlon. 20-inch wheel, no mud guards, nothing fancy. And I think it cost me £140, which is a tenth of one of these, a tenth of the price. But I think this is better value, because that bike was an absolute pain to fold and get on the train. So I used to took it to London a few times. I think the longest ride I did on it was down the canal to London, because I used to live in England at the time, and it was 75 miles. 20-inch wheels roll nicer off-roads than these 16-inch ones, and they're fatter, 2-inch wide tyres, but everything about it was designed by an accountant. And what I mean by that is they're trying to make it as cheap as possible. And when I mean cheap, I'll tell you how cheap it was. As a precaution, I stripped out the bottom bracket and re-greased it when it was brand new. And when I disassembled and took out the bottom bracket, what came out was, apart from the old grease, lots of metal shavings. I mean, what bike manufacturer does that? You know, do they honestly think that people aren't going to discover that? Well, perhaps they're right. Perhaps some people don't. But I did. And the other thing that surprised me was the actual chain wheel, which was a pressed steel stamping, wasn't actually round. It was elliptical, very, very slightly elliptical. And so that meant that you had to adjust the chain tension to cater for the slight elliptical nature of the chainring. And that wasn't by design. It was just really, really bad. And then finally, and the reason why it's off the road at the moment, it's been off the road for a few years actually, was because the crank fell off. And when I examined it, it was because the bottom bracket, the axle, which was it's a square taper axle, same as this one here, it just, the engineering standards were appalling. But I guess, if you buy cheap, you may pay twice. So I'm very, very pleased with this. I'm very, very pleased with it. I wasn't intending to do any bike packing on it, but it actually works very, very well. You have to be careful because of the 16-inch wheels. I mean, it would be lovely to test out a G-line. I'm definitely going to do that. If I get the opportunity to hire one for a weekend and just take it up. I will absolutely test it because it's got the same, as I understand it, it's got the same luggage block, the mounting block. So everything will go on perfectly. And that would give you more scope. But would it be, if I had the choice, if I was actually buying one, and the G line isn't available for this subscription scheme, only the C line here. But if I had the choice of subscriptions, what would I go for? What would I go for? I think that because quite often I'm riding on tarmac, so it doesn't really make much difference. You get the big bike feel with a G line, I'm sure, as many people have mentioned in YouTube videos, and I've seen a few. But the sheer size of it, not the weight, but the sheer physical size of it, I know from experience that I would struggle to get that on the rack, on the bus, the kind of luggage rack, the space available. There was once recently where I live in Wales. Buses are very reliable and regular, at least where I am, and it was so that they're so popular, especially with pensioners, because the buses are free for pensioners. The only way I could carry my bike, because there were pushchairs and there was a wheelchair in there, etc., was to put it on my knees between the seats. And I would not have be able to do that. And there was someone sitting next to me as well. So I would not have been able to do that on the bus. So the sheer size of the fold, for this setup, for certainly bus travel, it's probably a lot easier on a train, but for bus travel, domestic bus travel here in the UK, in Wales, is I haven't seen one on a bus yet. In fact, to be honest, I haven't seen a C line or any line on the bus yet. I'm the only one. Although I do see occasionally Bromptons, but it does attract some interest. It does attract some interest. So I'm not sure whether that would be a good idea. But anyway, let me get back to this, because I'm interested in your comments about your feedback about these. I think these actually fit very, very well. I will show you. I'll insert a video on how they're attached, but they're attached very, very strongly. So I am very, very happy with this, and I'm happy with my first aid kit, my impromptu first aid kit here. But another thing, one of you kindly, I don't know whether it was on Facebook or YouTube, but someone suggested to mitigate the risk of this sort of Heath Robinson arrangement, where I've got leather straps and bungee cords. There is always a risk that one of these will snap, possibly. Although I have got 2 rows, so there's the risk is reduced. The risk is reduced, but of it falling forwards, which would be a bad day, wouldn't it? Someone suggested, and I don't know whether anyone else has done this, to have. I mean, obviously, we all know that the mounting block is a fantastic design, because you don't have steering input affecting the balance of the loaded bike. But someone suggested I attach some sort of strap from here, the centre of the bars, to the handle, so that it provides like a fail-safe. And I suggested a breakaway cable. I don't necessarily need one for the weight, because this loadout is, as it stands, 8 kilos. So it's well within the 10 kilo limitation. However, I do like the idea of having some sort of strap going from here to here. Not sure how I'm going to do it, but I might just do that. I might have to mount this somewhere else, possibly. Don't know, but I think it's a good idea. There are some other modifications that I'm going to do. One of them that I'm trying, I'm not sure whether this is a good idea, but one of the things that I'm doing is, you'll notice that I've rotated the suspension block so that it doesn't latch. The actual latch on there is not it's completely disconnected, and I can reconnect it again. But I do like that because of the way you can, because I do so much multimodal travel. The speed of operation it's just so much faster. But we'll see whether I'm going to persevere with that, because if you're wheeling your bike backwards, that can be a bit of a pain if you have to just typically put the brake on and then move the sort of step the bike sideways. If you're going backwards, you can't do that. And if I lifted this bike over a stile, I'd have to lift it by here rather than here. But don't know yet. I don't know whether I'm going to persevere with that. Are there any other modifications, or not necessarily modifications but developments? Yes, there is. Because I've got this pouch, which I'm using as a tool pouch. What's in here? Because this did have my tools and a bottle of water as well. But what I've got in here is this. So I've got a pair of work gloves. Why have I got big, heavy work gloves in here? It's because some of the off-road stuff I do, I wouldn't say it's impenetrable. Some of the foliage, the scrub, if you like, the bushes, but it's very, very handy to have some heavy-duty leather work gloves, so you can put them on and snap things off. But it's also good for using my Trangia. That's a head net, by the way, a bug net for midges. We've got a lot of those in Wales. My Trangia brew kit. This is the smaller of the two that Trangia make, and I wasn't sure whether this would fit, but I had a sneaking suspicion it would. But when I first put that in here, I thought, no, it's not going to fit. But this Vincita, I think it's, I can't remember what it's called, but I'm really liking it. But it slides perfect, absolutely perfect in there. And so I've got everything in here. I'll show you a photograph inserted here. But everything in here, I prefer the safety of solid fuel. A solid fuel. I've got a British Army cooker in there, and that works really, really well with boiling the bag rations, which I'm inserting a lot of photos here, but it actually works really, really well because you can squeeze an entire ration pack into this size of mess tin, and then you can unfold it after it's heated up for 10 minutes But that works really, really well, I find. But why do I have it in here rather than in here? Well, because for obvious reasons, it would be this is kit for when I get to camp, and everything else I need during the day goes in here. If I want a cup of tea, I can make a cup of tea. I do sometimes use methylated spirits on the road, because if I spill it, then it's going to be, if I spilled it here, it wouldn't cause a catastrophe. So I do find that I do use this for methylated spirits cooking as well, or making a brew. But this is just enough. This is just enough to cook your meal, your boil in the bag meal, using just enough water, which you can then pour into a mug, a cup, and have a brew. So this is really, really good. Really, really good. And you don't even need a cup. You can just drink from the mess tin if you're careful. So that actually saves a fair bit of weight rather than actually carrying a cup. Sometimes I carry a cup, but to be honest, if you can drink straight from the mess tin, then why not, But these gloves are really, really handy, and it's just nice to be able to have something where I don't necessarily need to undo anything to get at them. Just works well. Just works really, really well having those three things in there. And with the brew kit, the actual burner, the stove, inside the mess tin. So really, really solid, very, 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 very handy. Is there anything else I have done? Yes, there is. Now, it's going to be difficult to show it here, but I will do it on a separate video and just insert it. I think that's probably the best thing. But it's to do with the self-aligning catches. Now, you can buy self-aligning catches, and they are standard on the T line, for instance, I believe. May even be the P line, not sure. But there's a clever design that means that they're always aligned. But that's not the case on the C line. Now, you can buy aftermarket ones from manufacturers, especially in the Far East, but I'm not sure whether I would want to do that, because there's a lot of design thought that has gone into the materials used for these catches, and my life could potentially depend on them working. So I would prefer to keep, and I am going to keep, the factory standard ones, the Brompton designed ones. But I do have, as you can see, I do have the, I don't know what they're called, but there's plenty of copies around. I decided to thank the original designer by buying the original alignment polymer inserts, and they work very, very well. I can report they work very, very well. And it's for me, it's just a case of counting. So I just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I know that is perfect. And they're aligned. Perfect. And then all the way back, perfect. And that's good. And I'm not trying to save huge amounts of time, but why did I do that? Why did I go to those lengths to do something that really, really isn't absolutely essential? Well, I'll tell you why. Because a couple of weeks ago, well, let's put it this way: the the bus, I needed to get off a train and onto a bus, and it was a mad rush. So I just missed out on getting it right. So cutting down those few seconds. Was I mean, it I wouldn't say it turned night into day, but it was an interesting thing. So I would say that's 40 litres and 35 litres. Anyway, they've probably got the same amount of gear as me. I don't know where they're going, but looks like they're heading towards Cardiff. Maybe they're doing the whole Taff Trail, which is something that a lot of people come to Wales to do. But yeah, so I'm very, very happy with those. Not sure whether I'm happy about the removing the lock. But are there any other modifications? Well, there is one more modification on order, but all will be revealed in another video, perhaps. What am I going to be doing soon? Well, I'm going to be doing some multimodal travel again, train, bus, and I'll be staying, I think, in a bothy. So that'll be a good thing to do. My first video on this channel showed me in the very wet forests of Wales, up in the mountains, about 1,000 feet. And do you know what? I just took some energy bars because I just couldn't be bothered with cooking anything. But I do like the sort of, I don't really call it cooking because I'm not a very good cook. It's more like outdoor alchemy. But you might see me cooking in some videos in the future. You might see me in a bivvy or a tent or a tarp or a bivvy and tarp, lots of different things. But this is kind of a resurgence of my youth, I suppose, because I used to do a lot of this when I was very young and not so young. But recently, over the last maybe 10 years or so, I haven't really done any camping at all because of mobility trouble. But having a bike that you can take on the bus and the train and do a bit of walking, because some of this is hiker bike, because where I go it can be quite extreme, and some of it cycling where I can. I just think that having a Brompton is for me a revelation. Did I say it was a revelation? Well, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there because I don't know how long this has been, and it's been a bit of a ramble, but I'm probably inclined to ramble on. But anyway, oh, there's just one thing. Some of you might be saying, why? What are you going to do about this? This extra capacity here, it kind of falls over outside the scope of someone's elbow, but not necessarily. I've got a strap which this is tightly held to the handle, so it's not going to flop out so that I accidentally hit a passerby or a car door mirror or something. It's solid. It is solid. But yeah, very pleased with that. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. Until next time, goodbye.